Hello friends, we're in the latest episode of Transfer News. The winter transfer period is ongoing, and we're analyzing the agenda and the latest developments. If you subscribe and like the video, you give us the greatest support. Jordan Henderson has transferred to Ajax. The player, who wanted to leave Saudi Arabia, got what he wanted and joined the Dutch team. He aims to play in Euro 2024. In fact, he had been called up to the provisional squad for the England national team while playing in Saudi Arabia. So, he was still one of the national team players. He just secured his place by transferring to Europe. Meanwhile, the 33-year-old Henderson became the first player to escape from Saudi Arabia. More to come, as Benzema and Firmino are currently considering the same move. Al Ittihad are aiming to sign Thiago. Thiago was one of Liverpool's most influential players a few years ago but has been absent for a long time. The last time he wore the Liverpool shirt was about 6 to 7 months ago. Now, at the age of 32, he is ready to transfer to Saudi Arabia and is just waiting for the end of the season. He will be eligible for a free transfer at the end of the year. He can also leave in January if Liverpool allow it. The Premier League leaders Liverpool are open to transfers. They might be looking for a centre-back and even considering options for the midfield. However, there is no sense of urgency to make transfers. Klopp is content with the current squad, and he doesn't want any issues going forward. While the January transfer plans are not definite, they are expected to be very active in the upcoming summer transfer window. On their transfer list is Kenan Yildiz. Klopp has started watching his performances in Juventus matches. Kenan's development has gained a lot of attention, and Juventus has no plans to sell him. However, rejecting Liverpool would be challenging for them. Financially, they are not the Juventus of the past. They used to have the potential to reject even a €100 million offer, but today, they can't afford to do so. Therefore, Liverpool has a good chance in the Kenan transfer. Even if Juventus decides to sell, they would make a substantial profit, unlike Bayern Munich, who sold him to Juventus for only €175,000 and now regrets the decision. Bayern Munich ended up being the loser in this situation. Lyon has acquired Gift Orban from Gent for a fee of €13 million. He gained prominence through his performances in the Conference League matches, and Lyon decided to make the transfer as he continued to impress. Meanwhile, we are anticipating a transfer for Lyon's striker Lacazette at the end of the season, possibly to Saudi Arabia or the MLS. It hasn't been finalized yet, but the 32-year-old star has already informed the Lyon management of his intention to leave. Inter had secured a commitment for a transfer from Mehdi Taremi. Yesterday, the final agreements were confirmed, and now the signatures will be put on paper. Taremi will join his new team once his contract with Porto expires at the end of the season. The move for Marko Arnautovic after Dzeko did not please the fans, and there is curiosity about what Taremi, a significant goal scorer, will achieve at Inter. Marco Reus's contract will expire at the end of the season. Reports suggesting that Dortmund will not extend his contract are unfounded. They are in talks to keep their legend, but we don't expect a long-term deal. Perhaps it could be a 1-1 deal, as we believe the 34-year-old Reus may retire within the next 2 years. Dortmund received bad news regarding Sergio Reguilon. The player, on loan from Tottenham, has joined Brentford. There are no purchase options. Dortmund tried, but Brentford succeeded in completing the transfer. Reguilon's desire to stay in England played a significant role in this transfer. Mourinho has been sacked from Roma. It was an unexpected decision, and even the fans didn't anticipate it. I believe the Portuguese manager will transfer to Saudi Arabia. His name is being linked with several teams, and the Saudis are unlikely to miss this opportunity. De Rossi has become the new coach for Roma, taking charge of the team where he is considered a legend. However, we don't think Mourinho's departure was handled in the right way. Manchester United's right-back player, Alvaro Fernandez, has been loaned to Benfica until the end of the season. There is a purchase option of €6 million included in the deal. Additionally, United also has a buyback clause applicable for the following years. The topic of Moise Kean has started to circulate on social media. We mention it almost in every video. Whoever is looking for a striker should at least give it a try. Juventus is trying to sell, but no one seems willing to pay the transfer fee. The latest team to make an offer to the player is Atletico Madrid. They are in search of a striker, and both Vedat and Artem Dopik are on their list. However, they would have to pay a considerable amount for either of them. That's why they have sat down to negotiate for Moise Kean. There was interest from Rennes at one point. Let's see how the situation unfolds. He has the desire to prove himself and is only 23 years old. Atletico Madrid has initiated talks with Arsenal for Mohamed Elneny. They have been working on the midfield transfer for a long time. They have never been a team to make easy transfers, so they are taking their time to make decisions and negotiate. Arteta held Elneny in high regard, meaning he never considered letting him go. However, until today, things have completely turned around. Ivan Toney's 8-month suspension ended just 2 days ago. One of the best forwards in the Premier League has returned. Today, they are playing against Nottingham Forest. We expect him to get some playing time if needed. Meanwhile, Arsenal or any other team has 15 days left to make a transfer for him. Chelsea and Arsenal both have a clear need for a striker. Ivan Toney is a much sharper finisher than the current forwards of these two teams. Al Hilal has announced the transfer of Ronaldo. They paid €25 million to Marseille for the 25-year-old left-back. They are currently leading in the league, and the left-back issue has now been resolved. This is a significant advantage for Neymar's team. Calvin Phillips was one of the first names we expected to transfer in January, but Juventus and Newcastle couldn't make the final turn to sign him. They are still at the table, but the chances of City reaching an agreement with them have significantly decreased. One of the teams that made an offer for the player is Crystal Palace. He might sign with Crystal Palace for more playing time. Manchester United is not planning to acquire the transfer rights of Sofian Amrabat. There are teams from various parts of Europe interested in the player. If United doesn't activate the purchase clause, he has no intention of returning to his former team, Fiorentina. The player is currently participating in the Africa Cup of Nations, representing his country, Morocco. Al Nassr, Ronaldo's team, is exploring the transfer of Take Kubo. The shining star of La Liga has become the most valuable player of Real Sociedad. The 22-year-old Japanese star has contributed to the score 10 times in 25 matches this season. His priority is to stay in Europe, but there is currently no team showing interest in him. Jesse Lingard, who has been without a team for a long time, offered himself to Barcelona yesterday. Lingard still hasn't found a team for himself. He had previously held talks with Ajax and West Ham, but a transfer did not materialize. Currently facing financial constraints and unable to spend money, Barcelona is considering his transfer. Juventus had reached an agreement with Lille for Thiago Jallo. They acquired the young player at a low cost since he will be a free agent at the end of the season. They paid only €4 million. It can be considered as a favorable opportunity for them in terms of a defensive transfer. However, they are facing a minor issue in announcing the transfer. They have a salary problem, so they will be sending one of their young players. Once this issue is resolved in the coming days, the transfer will be officially announced. A battle has erupted between Juventus and Napoli for Lazar Samardzic. Napoli had reached an agreement to sign him following the departure of Eljif Elmas. However, Juventus, despite financial challenges, made a counteroffer, creating confusion for the player's current team, Udinese. The cost was expected to be between 15 and 20 million, but now it is much higher. We eagerly await to see the winner of the Napoli-Juventus battle. Paris Saint-Germain wants to sell Goncalo Ramos, whom they paid €65 million for. He has fallen out of favor with Luis Enrique, only playing for 1 minute in the last 4 matches. It will be challenging for Paris to sell him. No one is currently willing to pay the desired amount for the 22-year-old forward.